Hi everyone. This is part of my business thought leader series I did last year where I help business owners optimization strategies and techniques, the Boost program. I wanted to do this because a lot of businesses were affected by the ballot propositions in 2020, and it was very important to express how they were going to impact our businesses and our money. And now this year, I think I'm repeating it because it helps a lot of people understand these propositions. It's very important to understand exactly what they're saying. So I'm doing it again, and this is for the 2022 ballot propositions. I hope you enjoy it. So first, you have to know, and I'm sure you've seen, there is no truth in requirements of political ads. Many of these ads, I'm so surprised every time I look at them. They're complete lies and against what the proposition states. So it's very important. You can't just vote no anymore on every ad because sometimes a no means yes. So first of all, there's a disclaimer involved. I don't want to create any offense to anyone, but it's very difficult to read these and try to figure out how to present them when you can see all the overreaching that's taking place. So first, by the numbers, we have Proposition 1, which is the abortion and contraceptive rights proposition. Prop 26, you've heard many times about legalizing sports betting, but what type of sports betting? They're different. Prop 27 is also legalizing sports betting, but it's for mobile and online betting. Proposition 28 requires funding for art and music after K-12. Proposition 29 enacts staffing requirements and reporting requirements for dialysis clinics. Prop 30 is the one which taxes 2 million taxpayers with 2 million or above in order to create benefits for to actually help California meet its emission standards, which are pretty difficult. And then finally, Prop 31 opposes the ban on flavored tobacco sales we had in 2022. So thank goodness there's only 7 this year. So first, the abortion protection. A yes vote supports the constitutional amendment, which requires freedom of reproductive rights in California, including the right to use contraception. A no vote opposes this amendment. What's interesting is California already has this protection in place, allowing reproductive rights, including abortions, up to 24 months, including any health to the mother, rape, or incest. So that is not correct when you're hearing that on the commercials. It's definitely a 24-month period with exceptions. There's no real financial impact to businesses because these rights currently exist, but it could create new rights to employee benefits, which could be inferred due to the poor wording in the statute. Unfortunately, these things are always written in a basic way, and it can allow interested parties to find loopholes, and that's what they'll do, is they'll continue to sue until they figure these things out. So that could be attacked on a regular basis. Do we really want to have reproductive rights after 24 weeks? The national ban is about 15 weeks, which follows the case, and 15 weeks is still 3 months, more than 3 months, to decide if you want to keep your child. There are, even in the possible nationwide ban, there are rights against the health of the mother for abortions in the case of health of the mother and rape or incest. So it's not correct what you're hearing about them being full, complete bans on abortion. And I think the problem is, if we're looking at it, I'm not sure we want to have these medical procedures up until the age of conception unless there's an issue involved. So I think the problem with the wording is it's very important to make that clear if that's what your concern is. So Prop 26 allows in-person sports betting at casinos and racetracks. We have 4 racetracks in California now that could have in-person sports betting that don't have it now. A yes vote means this type of betting will be allowed at those racetracks and tribal casinos. You do have to be 21 or older to take advantage of this, which is not what you're hearing on the commercials. And the tribal conditions will need to be negotiated with the governor because they are sovereign nations. The interesting problem is, so yes, the racetracks will be taxing these the income from this betting, but they can't tax the betting from tribes. But what they're going to do is require the tribes to reimburse the state for regulating the betting. So it's kind of a cha-ching against the tribes in some way. we're supposed to be promoting our Native Indian tribes because that was something that we allowed back when we decided they were harmed by California taking the state over against them and their property. So we put sovereign nations together. They are allowed to do certain things, and this is one of them. So the California is definitely going to get its money as part of it. 26, in-person betting. How will this impact our businesses? Well, it could create some new fundraising or client events that might be fun at the racetracks. It does create new enforcement actions, though, by anyone who believes the laws are being violated, other than the legal authorities, if the legal authorities fail to act. So I know we've seen plenty of times when we think the government should do something, but they don't necessarily do it. So this allows anybody to try to take that over, which I think is kind of a wild, wild west. I'm not sure that's going to be helpful to California, but if you like that kind of thing, you can vote yes on that. So in-person sports betting, a no vote means these in-person sports betting activities will not be allowed at the racetracks and tribal casinos. So basically back to what we have right now. But that does not impact the current sports betting that's currently being carried on in non-public settings and personal settings. Will we see any accountability, though, for the taxes we receive from this? I feel like this is a little bit like the lottery. You know, where's that money going to go? How are we going to hear about it? Is there going to be any money that we're going to see from this? Prop 27 allows mobile and online sports betting. So it's very interesting. The two of them are competing with the commercials, and it is very confusing, but Prop 27 is only about mobile and online sports betting. A yes vote supports allowing gaming companies to support mobile and online sports betting outside the tribal lands, anywhere outside the tribal lands, obviously, because mobile phones are easy to move around. It creates high thresholds, though, to compete, thwarting competition from smaller gaming companies. So I think it's FanDuel and DraftKings that are being showed. It's going to be very hard for other companies to compete because of the thresholds required to be allowed to offer mobile and online sports betting. You do have to be 21 years or older, despite what you're hearing on the commercials. That's another blatant lie. And after covering the state costs of regulation, the taxes received would be used to fund homelessness assistance and mental health activities. Does that mean zero? I'm not so sure. It's always after we spend all the money, we'll pay something to someone else. And I don't know if I trust California in that area, but that's how this works. And I do not know, cannot tell from the statute about the profits going out of state first. So a no vote opposes this kind of mobile and online sports betting. I suppose, yes, like the commercials are saying, it could affect children if they are able to get a hold of your phone and bet on something that you have an account over. Once the account's online and once it's in the mobile device, it is possible for others to use it, but you do have to be 21 or older. And out-of-state accounts are still capable of handling these things. The current activities would still occur. So there's no real business impact with this one, I believe. Proposition 28 guarantees the funding for arts and music from the Prop 98 funds we authorize, which are the community college funds. So a yes vote supports taking 1% of these funds and allocating it to art and music classes. Normally, as we have kids in younger ages, we do have a lot more art and music. It tends to eliminate itself over time as the children get older. So this would allow more requirements for art and music through the community college stage. The idea is to give kids something to enjoy instead of just art and instead of just math and science, which does require a different part of your brain. No vote opposes requiring these classes in these additional areas, and the funding is coming out of Prop 98 funds. So there's no real business impact. But businesses could provide relationships and grants to these schools to inspire students in art and music, and that could be a fun thing for our businesses in higher grades. Prop 29 is again the dialysis issue. This one happened a few years ago. We agreed, I think it was Proposition 6 or 8, we agreed to allow the two major dialysis providers to form a charity, which means they don't pay taxes, to put their patients on California care in order to increase the profits, even though these patients who were in their clinics already were covered by Medicare. So the commercials at that time were designed to trick us into voting for it because we felt so badly for these dialysis patients, and I know you heard this. I will die if I can't get my dialysis. I remember hearing it. We're hearing it even now. And since then, because they were able to increase their profits per treatment by 18 times the amount, our state is paying for this because it's California Care that's paying for it, which is our money. And these businesses are now flourishing. So people are trying to attack the idea again. I wonder why. Our tax dollars are paying for this. The 18 times price, they're flourishing because we created it. We allowed it. So again, this proposition allows another chance for power grabs over these services. Because their business is booming, everybody is interested in getting involved. So a yes vote supports the possible unionization of the workers in these facilities and will require a physician or nurse and telemed options if any issues were to occur to the patients who are being given these medical treatments. Now, most patients already have the ability to handle these things through their telemed, and they can talk to their nephrology doctors as needed. They sit there for 3 hours. They have plenty of time. But the proponents of it feel that there could be emergencies, and there aren't any doctors on staff. They're just workers who are running these machines. So there's an interesting quagmire there. I don't take dialysis. I'm not exactly positive about what the process feels like, but it does seem like it could be a valuable thing. But then again, are we really interested in finding a solution for something that doesn't have a problem? So first, most patients can contact these doctors already. Requiring any additional employees would take away from the profits of these providers, and that's why they're opposing the measure. And I just feel like, why do we want to get involved where there isn't emergency yet? I think these people have run pretty well with no issues for the last couple of years, so I don't see a real problem here to worry about. But a no vote opposes the possible unionization of these workers and does not require a physician or a company provided telemed option. So this is where the companies would have to provide it, and that's why it's going to eat into their profits. They might have to pay another salary for a physician or another salary for a physician's assistant or nurse. Patients in these facilities have these options already. So it does seem like Proposition 29 is a solution in search of a need, really. So there's been no reported problems, so there's really no need for that. Proposition 30 now is another clean air promoting electric vehicles proposition. So it imposes 1.75% additional tax on Californians making more than $2 million a year to fund these very difficult climate programs that we've created for ourselves. So the goal is to clean up the state's dirty air and help meet our ambitious greenhouse gas reduction targets. We're the ones that created this. I think it's 2035. That law, I believe, is what this discusses. A yes vote supports this tax, which is going to be on people that can probably afford it, which makes you wonder why Governor Newsom is against it. A no vote opposes this new tax. You're either for the tax or against it, but this money is going to be used, 80% of it is going to be used to provide vouchers and free rebates for people who buy electric cars. So a lot of these wealthy people are going to be the ones buying it. Now we're going to give them a rebate for buying it. It just seems kind of silly. We're already taxed to death here in California. I'm not sure why we'd want to increase taxes for air, which has already been cleaned up by other measures we already have in place. But if you're for taxing the rich to give the rich a benefit, that's a yes vote. And a no vote is opposing a tax and some more administration that would be required to handle the rebates. And we've already seen this past week interesting problems with the PPP that was provided, where people did go after these rebates and special government benefits without actually qualifying. So I wonder if that's going to happen again. Proposition 31 upholds the ban on flavored tobacco products. Now, we in 2020 had a law that was enacted because we felt that these tobacco products would hurt children or be attractive to children. A yes vote upholds the current law, which bans it, which did cost our state $100 million in tax dollars because they were obviously earning taxes on these purchases. And a no vote would strike down the law to allow the sale of these tobacco products again. So you need to know that. A yes vote upholds the ban on flavored tobacco products. A no vote strikes down the ban and will allow the sale of these flavored tobacco products. I don't really see a business impact here, so I'm not that concerned for businesses, but it's probably a personal issue. If you believe these are hurtful, you want to vote yes. If you believe flavored tobacco products are fine, you want to vote no. I hope you enjoyed that. I know these ballot propositions are very difficult to understand, so there are things online. The source of these are Cal Matters and California Ballotpedia. These are the resources. California Matters is a Cal Matters is a nonprofit bipartisan look at these propositions. So if you want to look at them, you can see them there. The wording is always difficult to understand, but at least you have the yes and no verifications here on this program. Thank you so much.